some people, they could read through the dirt and actually find gold in it. And there's certain things that people say, they're like, oh my God, this river of things that he's saying is all golden nuggets. Or some people, they read the same book and they actually get nothing out of it.
All right, I am here with Mitchell Alomar, man. Long time coming again, doing this again, another podcast with you. Today, we are currently at the GHL Engine Mastermind.
Yes.
How was this experience for you joining the mastermind?
GHL Engine Mastermind is it evolves your business, right? It's beyond a mastermind. It's where you have questions. It's not like you're just sitting in and just listening to presentations. You're like, wait, hold on there. Just, what does that mean? How can it apply to my business? So it's more interactive and people are helping you out in your business. People are sometimes like, how do I make recurring money? And we're helping each other out. So I love the fact that finding our better selves and we're like, all right, this is the issues and we're helping each other out. So it's beyond a mastermind. So it's very impactful. And some people who don't want to go out, they're like, oh, it's a mastermind. It's not a mastermind. It's changing your business to make recurring revenue. And you guys got to at least try out one of them. This is my second time joining. And I gave a little presentation. And even for myself, my friends like, Mitch, you're changing the way you're speaking. And thank you so much for that.
Yeah, you came across very confident in your presentation.
Yes.
Like when I saw your presentation, I was very impressed. And there was an element of what is he going to say next?
Yeah.
What strategy? There was so much nuggets and so much that value that you were dropping on the presentation at this mastermind. And what I say is that the opportunity is in the show. If you didn't get a chance to see Mitchell's presentation, the opportunity is in the show when you do.
Yeah, there's no replay or anything that you guys are gonna see. You have to like show up. Just the mastermind, like as soon as Andy posted the tickets, I purchased it less than 5 minutes. I saw it in Slack, I pulled over and I was like, all right, I have to purchase these tickets. And you guys see the man, the legend, Andy Audate. You see all his videos, his podcasts, even just to be with him in person, like, oh no, I'm gonna watch his webinars, I'm gonna download snapshots, like just to be next to you, man, like your energy is so strong, the way you want to help out so many other people. Please just like, a lot of people respect you in so many groups, but you guys got to show up to like, Andy, here's my webinar. Here's the things I'm thinking about. Ask some questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. So the next one that's published, you guys should show up. A living testimony of how I've evolved throughout social media. I have 3,000 SaaS friends in the last month, and I keep on evolving because of people like Andy. So
let's talk about evergreen webinars. Let's talk about the value of. One of the things you had mentioned throughout your presentation was how you use Webinar Core and how you're driving traffic to a webinar. Can you explain in your campaign how you're using Webinar Core, how you're using that technology to grow your business?
Yeah, so can I take a step back first? Because people are like, I want to start my first webinar. And so first, like a webinar is like, call it a group of friends, 5 or 10 people you talk to. And then that 5 or 10 people, you get to talk about your offer. For me, I do paid ads and I talk about how to reach 1,000 business owners for $1. They're like, ooh, how do you do that? You have to have a little curious offer and then do that, try it out, right? Try to get a bunch of people on Zoom. And then once you have one sale from it, you're like, wait, I have one sale? Webinar Core is a thing where you could duplicate it, multiply. You could actually say, you know what? I have so many email reminders. I don't know how to do email follow-ups. Even the follow-up sequence of 3 days before, or 2 days before, 1 day before, 15 minutes before it started. We're live. I really use it for the emails. I don't want to get my emails burnt. So I'm like, let me use the system to send out these reminders because I know it's going to go into the email inbox. It sends out text messages. How I use it is really of sharing a message to multiple people and to get them to show up to an actual webinar. So Webinar Core is a system where you can actually deploy and to get people to show up to your actual event. People, they say, oh, I want to invite 20 people, and those people, sometimes they don't show up because the email system you're using, it goes to spam. You're not sure how many days to send it out, what message to put. So Andy puts all the templates in there, the texting, like what to use, and he has it all pre-set up for you, ready to go.
In your experience, if a business or a brand were to use Webinar Core, should they use it in a way to start generating sales? Is it to create awareness? Or is it like, hey, I'm going to use it as like a sales process? Like how could a small business or even a brand like an agency really start maximizing making money using Webinar Core?
You could try different ways. Well, there's different ways. You could do a webinar to interact with everybody. You could do it as a networking group. So I have my Friday networkings at 1:00. So you could do workshops where people can interact with you. So the system is really of how to bring everybody together, sell one to many.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And the goal is to get people to show up to actual events together.
You know, one of the ways that I've used Webinar Core is when, like what Mitch said, he mentioned do one to many to sell your products on a live webinar. You get your first webinar, your first sale on a live webinar, for example, and then you can take that webinar and turn it evergreen and automate that same webinar and make it automated every single day. So we use something called a daily demo, which the daily demos every single day. They have sales presentations every 15 minutes. I have a sales presentation going on. And one of the things I say is the one who makes the most offers makes the most money. If you can keep offering your product or service to your customers, you make more and more money because you give more people the opportunity to say yes. Many times, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, I know I have, where there's something that maybe I'm not interested to buy at that moment, but after hearing about it a couple of times, maybe in a week or two, maybe 3 weeks, I'm then interested to buy that thing, and I forgot the link.
Yeah.
Or I forgot the name of the business, or I forgot the name of the product. And when with a webinar, if you can automate your presentation, even if you're doing a podcast, you're sitting down, you're with your family, you're traveling, whatever, you can make sales automatic with Webinar Core because people go and watch your live presentation. It looks and it feels like it's live. It's called a live presentation. And when they're watching it, they can then make a decision. And although on your side, it's pre-recorded. So you pre-record the video and then you post it on Webinar Core. And then when your customer goes to register for the webinar, you're not actually there. It's a live presentation that looks like it's live, at least. It's pre-recorded that looks like it's live. And your customer has the opportunity to make a decision to either buy it or to not buy it. And you're making more and more offers every single day if you can have it be on autopilot.
Yeah, I want to just say, because the webinar, so even being at this event, GHL Engine event, you shared almost about 100 different offers. And I'm going to share like how to mix that with Webinar Core, but everybody's trying out different webinars, or they go for one webinar. And I think you said your first one, your mom, everybody you said to join, and nobody joined. And creating so many offers. Actually, I told a friend today, it's like creating offers is like a Rubik's Cube. Sometimes you want to get the all side green, and you're like, you do it one time, you're like, it didn't work. The person who has many offers and does this so many Rubik's Cubes, and they probably do it 10 times, 20 times. The person that actually makes the green side, they have the right offer. So even Andy has so many offers. I'm like, dude, you're sharing all your offers. And Webinar Core is like to show the evergreen webinars, but also to get a live webinar where you could remind people. So people get so caught up with like, Mitch, what do you do for evergreen webinar? Have one great successful one where you get at least 3-5 closings on that one webinar. Do a live one, and then you could do, replicate it yourself. God forbid something happened to you. My ultimate goal is like the older I get, I'm 37 years old. God forbid the next COVID happens. God forbid, like I was really sick in COVID. Like I didn't have an evergreen webinar. My next thing is like, if I get sick or anything, do I have an evergreen webinar if I'm in the hospital and I'm still able to make sales even at the bed, right? Like you put so much work in, you got to create those offers, create one good live one, and then replicate it to an evergreen one.
100%. I know, for example, me, one of the biggest things is I get to be present with my family. And I remember I was on my honeymoon in Hawaii, and I see Stripe, cha-ching, cha-ching, new SaaS sales. So we sell Go High Level as a white label. These are a couple of our awards here.
The awards.
This year we crossed over to platinum, so we're no longer in the gold. We already crossed over to platinum. And I remember that, like being in Hawaii, and I saw these sales coming in, and I was like, okay, let me run down where some of these sales came from. Saw that they opted into our daily demo, which was our Webinar Core campaign. And when they go watch it, it looks and it feels like it's real. And so they're watching me do a presentation of the value of Progretta, of why they should buy it. Progretta is my white label. And so why they should buy, how they should use it. And at the end of the presentation, they make a decision to go ahead and buy it. Have you ever done something like that where it's like automated and you allow people to come Like maybe you drive traffic into a funnel and you allow people to make a decision to buy your product.
Running ads is like if running traffic to it. Like evergreen webinars is like driving the same people to a thing as well. I want to just take a step back a little bit about what was that feeling when you was you said in the Bahamas or Hawaii, and what was that gut reaction like oh my god, I'm onto something, like what was those sales looking like did you find like freedom, like that aha moment?
Yeah, like I'm in the middle of that next evolution. Like I'm in the middle of the next story that I'm going to be sharing for the next 5 years or so. I'm in the middle and I'm experiencing it because for a while I've optimized my business to create more results in less amount of time. So I've optimized my business where I do one webinar a month, and then my team does these post-webinar interviews where essentially it's a sales call for the people who didn't buy on the product, right? And to convert. So all I got to do is show up once, and then the rest is like all video sales letters. And then there was this element where, okay, how do I sell more and sell more of me strategically? So I'm very clear on video sales letters, very simple, just I record a video. However, that feeling and that experience of when someone sits down and is essentially forced to watch it in real time. Because on a webinar, on a live webinar, you're forced to watch it in real time. You can't speed up because speeding up is the future. If you're sitting down and watching a gentleman speak or a woman speak, you can't say, hey, today's X date, the 1st of January, for example, at 2:00. You can't say, let me skip to, 2:30, because that's the future, right? So you got to watch it in the 1x speed and really understand what people are saying.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons that people lose sales, even myself, on video sales presentations, on video sales letters, is people are like, hey, let me skip through this.
Yeah.
And let me go to the toggle and let me skip through this and let me play 2x speed and let me listen to it very quickly to make a decision. And it's like, it didn't capture me long enough, and then I'm on to the next thing. But Webinar Core, it puts that person in a place of like, let me sit down to watch it. Even if it's pre-recorded, let me sit down and watch what the person is saying. Plus there's the chats on the right-hand side, the chat simulator, that allows you to see what other people are saying, as well as you can chat in and ask questions, and then I can have my team members be behind the scenes and answer those questions on my behalf. Yeah.
I was gonna. It's funny because I go to other people's webinars, and some things I actually start to evolve myself in webinars. I say in the first 5 seconds, I'm like, please ask me all the questions. Towards the very end, I'm going to answer all your questions. So as I'm going throughout this whole entire webinar, this workshop, talk about Facebook ads, I'm going to answer all your questions. So as I'm talking, I'm going to see all your questions pop up. But towards the very end, I'm going to answer all your questions. So what happens is like, people are interacting with the webinar and they're actually asking questions, and they're like waiting towards the end now to get those answers. So if you guys like sometimes in Webinar Core you can see like a 5-minute drop, 10-minute drops. People are like, oh, how many minutes you should do it? You can do 30 minutes, but to get somebody to increase the watch rate, you got to get somebody to interact with you. Just don't say, all right guys, this is the presentation.
Yeah.
Like you get somebody to interact with you, and that's why I love when I listen to like yours is like you're interacting with people, and then you have the Webinar Core, the chat simulator, same exact thing. So that's what I love about it.
Yeah, one of the things that you had done in today's presentation. So today we're currently at the GHL Engine Mastermind. We stepped away for a bit to speak. So at this mastermind, it's all about how to sell software, how to onboard customers with software, how to retain customers, and how to really scale your business with virtual assistants. So that was the premise of today's last 2 days being here at this mastermind here in Las Vegas. And Mitchell was one of the speakers. And Mitchell being one of the speakers, he explained to the audience about how to drive traffic and how to get customers. And one of the things that he does is he'll tell people like, hey, pull out your phone. He'll tell people to do the action steps. Like, hey, pull out your phone, do this step, do that step. This is what my campaign looks like. I want you to get up and do the actual activity. So one of the things that I appreciated about your presentation, it wasn't like, okay, so you will at one point pull out your phone. No, you like, no, pull out your phone right now.
There was a little barrier what I did. There was a little barrier. So when I said, you guys are going to feel really, really uncomfortable, there's going to be one thing, just please trust me. I'm going to guide you to this one step. It's going to be very difficult for a lot of people. If I promise you I won't fail, And the thing, I knew what I was gonna say. It was like to pull out your camera, but the expectation was like, I build it up. What's he gonna do? Like, and I'm gonna show you. There's one tool that's gonna save your life. Like, I'm gonna show. So I did the camera thing, and I said, "There's one tool. All right, Mitch, show us the tool." I'm like, "Are you guys ready?" The tool. All right, here we go. The tool is your finger.
Your finger. and what he was saying in the finger is he was mentioning that his ads, so he runs paid ads, and he had mentioned that, like, for example, if you put a words on top of your head in an ad, so when you pull out your phone and you're recording a video and you're saying, hey, learn more about my product, or learn more about my online course, learn more about my webinar, and you can have that on top of your head, right? You can have the words, but by putting your finger and doing this, you can dramatically decrease the cost to acquire a lead. And he showed an example of going, what was it, $20 to 83 cents.
Yeah, so average people, they make a Canva graphic. A lot of ad agencies or a freelancer, you guys use Canva, and I was getting leads around $20, and I was like, all right, that's good cost per lead. And then I showed it how to bring it down to $6 by using some tricks. If you guys come to the next GHL Engine event, I'll show you guys those tricks. And then how to go from $6 down to $4 a lead using yourself as your brand, how to create yourself as your brand, and then even bring it down from $20 down to 83 cents.
That was huge.
Like, by even displaying it. So even for you, it's like you post so much stuff about, like, tips about TSA, but a lot of people, they're in the restroom, they're running around, so they can't hear you talk. But if you go like this, like 10 tips to bypass TSA, turn the audio on. So like for you, you're talking, and obviously sometimes I listen, but a lot of people, there's not really a statistic of how many people listen, because when you're scrolling, but it's just you putting words on there. And I'm, now I'm at a point like, Andy, I'm just like sharing all of my campaigns. I'm like
sharing the game.
Yeah.
And, as I think about you, if you're in a scenario where you have nuggets, you have strategies, you have processes that you want to share, he has something that's something very simple. Like, put your finger up inside of your video, and that will get your cost down, because you're 100% right. Sometimes if I'm in a loud place and I can't hear, and if you're talking, I'm not gonna look. But if I can see what you're saying, and there's words on top, and you're pointing to the words, I may stop my scroll on social media and put my attention to what you're pointing at, and I can read what you're saying. He shared that. So when you're recording on Webinar Core, you can actually take your content and tell the audience to do something that will help with your engagement. So meaning when someone registers for your webinar on Webinar Core, rather than staying only for the first, even though it's all automated and so forth, instead of them staying for only the first 8 minutes and leaving, you can communicate with them and get them engaged by saying, hey, write this down. That's one of the things that I do. I say, grab your pen and write this down. And one of the quotes, the jokes that I make is, I'm going to give you so many nuggets, you're going to be able to open up a McDonald's.
Yeah, there we go.
Everyone laughs at that one. So that's like a continuous, like if you see my presentation many times, I'll end up saying that usually because it breaks the ice and it gets people to start writing things down. They laugh and they're like, okay, let me write things down. So now they're like, okay, I'm engaged. And it's an automated presentation, right? So if you record it one time, one of the ways that I do it, I record it on Loom, I record it on Zoom. So I record it on all these platforms. And then you can even record it on Webinar Core itself and do the presentation and then upload that presentation. So all of that being said, you take your presentation and then you upload it to Webinar Core. You choose a date. Every single day you can have a presentation every single day. You can have a presentation every 15 minutes. You can have a presentation every 5 minutes, whatever that time frame is. And you can start promoting to your customers, hey, I have a webinar coming up, and then they can watch that webinar. It looks like a real webinar. It feels like a real webinar, and it's automated like a real webinar. And you're allowing to get more and more sales and more sales opportunities by promoting more offers.
One thing I do want to give some advice. Some people this is what I love, Chris, because I was just so used to like just presenting, and in the first 1 minute I said I'm going to show a 2-hour presentation and I'm going to try to crunch it down to 5 minutes. But then I was doing presenting and in here, and then as I was going really quick, somebody slowed me down and said, Mitch, how do I get this in like from the ads to the webinar, I was like, wait, we're in a mastermind. It's like, you're not on stage and like, you can't ask me questions. So this was great to like stop me and be like, all right, let's interact with my actual campaign and let's dive deeper into it. But one thing I do want to say is like anybody who's running paid ads to a webinar core, just do not show. A lot of people use Canva graphics of showing a stock random person or just showing a random baby, and then they expect to go to a particular webinar. The best webinars is like if you're having like we do healthcare clinics and you have the healthcare coordinator, you put her on the ad and then you put her on the landing page, and then when you see her on Webinar Core, she relates. You see her, right? I can't mention her name, but when you have to have the ad related to those different steps. So just don't put like different pictures of Canva.
Yeah.
You have to. We call it continuation. Like your image. Like let's say for me, like you put a picture of me, and then there's some other guy. Like you have to show the ad to the landing page, and then to you. Some people, they're scared of showing their face. The best ones are the person is the brand. Your staff members are the brand. You have to share, even if it's a logo, share the logo within the ads and within the pages. It has to be a continuum of the branding. Use the same colors. Like my colors are blue and orange.
Yeah.
It has to just like feel trust. Like, all right, I see Mitch on the ad. I see Mitch on the landing page. I see the webinar core. And then I showed how to get, how to reach 1,000 business owners for $1. Even they signed up. Now I'm showing ads to them 40 times a day. Sorry, and I'm like trying to give some golden nuggets of like,
no, this
is why you got to join these, like to show. This is why I joined last year, because Andy was like, I'm gonna share everything, and Andy's like really sharing everything of his workflows, his. He's like, this is what you cannot record. I'm like, oh man, I gotta record this process. Some automation. So please join these events, talk to Andy in person, try Webinar Core, even if it's for a month. His team is gonna set you guys up and talk to you. Just quick question, like what for webinars in general, I still hear people saying, I have to choose my right date. And I like when you go on stage, you choose a random date. But some people, Andy, they have so much barriers to the webinar, choose, I don't want to do one too many, webinars. Are you sure it really works? I always get those questions. Always when I'm around you, they're like, Mitch, does webinars work? I'm like, yes, take Andy's advice. It works. Yeah. But yeah.
Whenever something is brand new, there's always going to be hesitation to that new thing. Even when the internet came out and the internet's this brand new thing, people are like, I'm not going to put my credit card in that. Is that even safe? And it's slow to adoption. But the slowest to adopt is the slowest to create any success. The slowest to adopt is the slowest to create any level of success. So Amazon, for example, Jeff Bezos is like, hey, in 1990, is like, hey, you know what, man? Not only am I going to put my credit card on the internet, I'm going to enroll millions of people to put their credit card on the internet. On top of that, I'm going to build my entire business on the internet, because the internet at one time was a fad. It was like, oh, it's going to come and it's going to go. We're still going to use newspapers, right? Netflix, Blockbuster was like, hey, you know what? We're not going to, what Netflix is doing, that's a fad. Streaming online, no, people have a nostalgia to come to the Blockbuster and buy the movie in person, and they want to rewind the VHS tapes. That's what people want to do. That's what Blockbuster is saying. Where's Blockbuster today? No, it's not, right? Yeah. So it's a question of do you want to be advanced? Webinars is an advanced strategy. It's a strategy to create more results in less time, because the math is the math. Meaning, if person A were to do one-on-one sales calls every single day, and let's say it takes an hour and a half to do the actual presentation, greet them, qualify them, present the offer, try to close the deal, so on and so forth. So an hour and a half. And on top of that, it takes about 30 minutes to clean up the CRM, to add the notes from the conversation, maybe go through the call recording, 30 minutes or so. if you're doing all of the sales activities, such as scraping data about the customer, learning about their business. So you're in that one customer for 2 hours. And if you work 8 hours a day, at most you could do 4 sales presentations in a day. You multiply 4 sales presentations by 20 working days, that's at most 80 days, 80 demos, 80 sales presentations you can do. Which would you rather be? Working 40 hours a week, 160 hours a month, and your result is 80 sales presentations? Or would you rather be 300 sales presentations in less than 2 hours in the entire month? Because you can put 300 people into your webinar core campaign. And you can have 300 people go through that journey, and it takes you less than 2 hours in that month. So if you care about your time and you want to automate a lot of your sales and a lot of your efforts and a lot of your campaigns, you want to automate your offer, that's why you'll use Webinar Core, and that's why you use a webinar strategy. Now, you can add webinars. You don't have to completely X out what you're doing. You can always still do what you're doing. If you're doing one-on-one sales, you can always add a webinar campaign on top of what you're doing and use that strategy to add more revenue. And then in 6 months or so, you can then weigh the decision of how you want to, if you want to change your business. But you don't have to stop doing one-on-one sales. You can continue doing one-on-one sales. I would invite that you add the strategy of one-to-many, so that way you can grow your business and grow your top line revenue.
Can we talk about one-to-many real quick?
Yeah.
Because I want to talk about one-to-many for paid ads.
Uh-huh.
I want to talk about one-to-many with this video. I want to talk about one-to-many with emails. So one-to-many, I was like, one-to-many, I don't understand that. And then I started to think, I'm doing a retargeting ad. I'm showing my ads to 100,000 people. So when I see them in person, I go to events, they know the same message I told them over and over again. One-to-many is like you watching this video. I'll be so selfish just to talk to Andy without this video being there and not sharing with all the people that's watching. It's very selfish of just keeping it between us, and we want to share so much value, and you should share so much value, and it's between one-to-many is an Instagram post.
Yeah.
You're sharing it to 20,000 people. You're sharing it to you have a newborn baby. You're like, nah, I don't do one-to-many. I don't want to show it to my whole family. I just want to keep it between me and my wife. You're not sharing the love with your family. One-to-many, it's like you're sharing it to multiple people. So that stigma of what is the one-to-many? Let's say if you had your LLC, and then after you have your LLC, they say do one-to-many. There should be that rhythm of one-to-many.
You start your business, and then you gotta communicate your product to as many people as possible.
So even I want to just say I gave my son this book, and it was a book by Dan Henry, Become a Digital Millionaire. And my son says, this just has a bunch of papers in it, and it's not going to make me rich. And I came up with this great analogy, and hopefully this, if you're a parent, if this relates to you. And I said to my son, I said, his name is Mitchell. So I'm Mitchell the second. My dad was Mitchell the third. So I said, Mitchell, this book is like dirt. And within this dirt, all the pages are dirt. But some people, they could read through the dirt and actually find gold in it. And there's certain things that people say, they're like, oh my God, this river of things that he's saying is all golden nuggets. Or some people, they read the same book and they actually get nothing out of it. So the reason I'm saying that is because everything we're saying is even if you grab one golden nugget out of this and implement it, right, to your business of hey, I did one-to-many to talk to 5 people. The golden nugget is just trying and sometimes being guided. Sometimes being guided is Mitch, put on this shirt with this logo on it. Being guided of making more from this. So one-to-many is speaking in front of multiple people. I'll be so selfish if I did not show anything in the mastermind about how to create ads for 83 cents. I'm not selling anybody. I'm just sharing an experience. And I was before Andy, I didn't want to talk to anybody. But now it's
you want to keep it to yourself.
I wanted to keep it to myself. And now just the joy of just trying it once, trying a second, and just showing that the love out there. One-to-many is posts your photos on Instagram. One to many is your stories. One to many is your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
One to many is, oh, Mitch, I don't want to do 3 calls a day. My Zoom calls, I just keep the same Zoom call link, and I just allow as many people in there as possible to share the same experience.
Yeah. This is huge. What do you have to say to someone who's maybe on the fence of getting Webinar Core? They're like, what do you have to tell to someone who's like, hey, I'm interested, but I'm not. I'm on the fence of trying Webinar Core.
I would say this most important thing. Sometimes you have to pay attention. Sometimes you have to gamble on yourself, and you have to put the trust. If you've been seeing Andy Audate's videos, you've been seeing him on stages, shame of you if like, oh, I trust him, but I don't want to sign up. But you would rather spend $200 at Cheesecake Factory, or spend $200 when your car breaks, like, oh, I want some new tires. Whatever the dollar amount is for Webinar Core, invest into yourself. Try it. Try for you, try for your future, try for your kids, try for your wife, try for the people who love, people who want your service. The best advice I heard about selling is, you're not selling a service. You're just not allowing people to experience what you have to offer. So if you're reading all the features, we're saying everything. We're saying a lot of golden nuggets, and there just might be a bunch of dirt. If you hear one golden thing, just try it.
Just try it. That's it, baby. Just try it.
Just try it.
So someone on this webpage, if you're watching it, or you can go to webinarcore.com and just to try it.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you, Mitch.
It's good.